so I'll pretty much have to take the next opportunity I get, really. You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. Wait, what? You can barely bend your legs. When you try to... My bad. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. You kick the front of the container. The only reaction is a dull metallic sound. You try using your fist, but there's just enough room to get a good punch in. Seems pretty hopeless. Some more time. Tries nothing. This is bad. Suddenly, the containers move slightly. A moment of silence, an indistinct male voice shouting. A muffled shot. Silence again. The lid comes off. What the? You're here. That's a relief. Agathon and Angelo. Tell me we've hit the jackpot. Follow us, and quick. Seeing their faces is surprising. Even more so is their circumstances. These circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down the street in North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. The three of you jog away toward the line of the trees and take shelter under some branches, just as you hear a chopper approaching. The searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves toward you. Get on the ground. Agathon takes something out of his pocket. You hear a soft breaking sound, and then he just disappears from sight. You look to Angelo, but he's not there. Must be his disappearing trick again. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. You take out before the light can reach you. In just a single dash, you find a small, overgrown mound beneath an old tree. You realize you didn't have to run that far. The searchlight passes through where you were standing just seconds ago, but doesn't actually reach much further into the park. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. We have an opening. Let's go before the SI decides they want to go do another sweep. Wait, Second Inquisition? What do they have to do with anything? D'Angelo, care to fill them in? The SI did a number on you. Your haven got raided and they took you for a ride upstate. They have a facility somewhere out of town, not a place you'd want to be. The thing that surprised me the most, though, it was Kaiser who contacted us and let us know. Wait, how did the SI know where I lived? A dozen ways. CCTV, someone saw you feed or use your powers, somebody was observing Langley and got interested in your connection to her, an organized operation like in 2016, who the fuck even knows? Sorry to cut in, but we better go. The limo is here. Kaiser's familiar car stops from by and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief, until now. Hey, fledgling. Miss me? Actually, yeah, I kinda did. Aw, that's so sweet. I hate to break it to you, but I didn't take a sudden liking to you. I'm here on business. On brand. You'd know a thing or two about that, wouldn't you, detective? You're here, now, only because I told your buddies that you were neck-deep in shit. That van you were in, a one-way ticket to Hertville. Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me. Big. How the hell did you know the SI broke into my haven and took me away? Is that a piss-poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? I've kept eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, in case I need you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. I have a good idea of why the SI hit you, Koda. Now that there aren't tons of good reasons for it, it might have been one of these, for instance. Screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now shows a short loop clip. It's you getting into a fight, feeding, using one of your powers. You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it, you're new to this. You didn't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. Not to you though, right? I always wondered how it is that you can drive a pompously luxurious limo around NYC and not get caught. What's your secret? Body doubles? Decoy cars? Kaiser smiles, going for that anthropomorphic piranha look you saw a few times before. You do know what killed the cat, don't you, Mr. Finch? D'Angelo freezes and scratches his face, looking fiercely at the other Nosferatu. You notice that his hands are shaking. Well, do you? Stop shedding on the upholstery and answer. Or should I use your given name, too? Yeah, I know why the cat croaked. You would, wouldn't you? You've never seen D'Angelo serve anyone a death stare quite like the one he's shooting Kaiser now. As much as I enjoy tempering your overinflated ego, we're nearing our destination, so I think I'll move on. The reason I need you walking and talking, Koda, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So first things first, here. He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? Hey, Sophie. It's me, Sophie. Koda, are you okay? They're fine and dandy. Kaiser, what are you doing on this line? What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Koda, spit it out. Kaiser saved me from the Second Inquisition. Sophie, I only got out because of him. Your companions looked at one another dejectedly. SI, that's what I feared. Listen, the plan. We need to do it tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but Kaiser, are you still listening? Would I tell you if I wasn't? Koda, call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up. That's that. Well, Koda, care to elaborate? You never did tell me what kind of work you did for Langley. Don't play coy, D'Angelo. You must have figured at least some of it out. Don't worry, we'll have plenty of time to compare notes after we let our mutual acquaintance continue with their night. If my intel's worth a damn, your next stop, Koda, is right about here. Car comes to a stop and the door opens outside. Outside, you see the street leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's pool pub. Well, you need me to kick you out? What about Agatha and D'Angelo? What about them? They're staring right where they are, and we're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me, but that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram. You thank both your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you, and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only a bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old boggart movie on the bar screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes? I'm at the bar. Good. We'll be there in 15 minutes. If Torque's not there, notify him. We need to move and fast. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting? Actually, do you serve the, special stuff? Bartender raises an eyebrow. Special reserve, you mean? Sorry, I can only serve that to a narrow selection of the owner's friends. Come on, I won't tell anybody. Just a sip of the good stuff. Yeah, okay. But just a little, okay? So they don't notice any of it missing. Takes out a bottle from a safe behind the counter and pours a bit of brown liquid into a glass. It's whiskey. There, enjoy. Your disappointment is palpable. At least the smell is nice. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh. Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Torque notices the untouched glass with a bit of whiskey in it that you persuaded the bartender to pour. For me, you shouldn't have. He takes the glass and drinks the liquid, moving it around in his mouth before swallowing. He looks you in the eye. Sure, I won't keep it in forever. But the night when I don't enjoy the taste of good whiskey is the night when I will truly consider myself damned. Well, Koda, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. Patrons' eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartenders. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Koda. Care to explain? Things got complicated. We had to improvise. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Koda already told you why I'm here? Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it. You will like what I have to say. Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ended with somebody getting hurt. That's not something I'm in the mood for tonight. We are wasting time. There's a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Koda who is supposed to do the driving, not your servant. Both serve me, so really it's of little difference. The circumstances changed, and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk. I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I'll be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes? Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing. Torque, listen to Sophie. You can't afford to miss this opportunity. Callahan has to be stopped. I did not ask for your opinion, fledgling. If death stares could actually kill, you'd be decapitated by his. Sophie smiles. Isn't that just typical? You're all for democracy and the rule of the many, but only as long as they vote your way. Dissenting voices are silenced. You're no better than Callahan. Fuck this. Torque takes a bottle off the counter and breaks it over the bar. With a jagged piece of glass in his hand, he points at Sophie. You two have precisely until the count of 5 to get out of here before I cut you up in little pieces. 1. You wouldn't dare. Try me. 2. Shots break the front windows and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the counter. More shots ring out, bottles break, the TV shatters into pieces, the wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf. Because suddenly, the room is silent. You see Torque beside you and Marty, the bartender. Bleeding out on the floor, you look over the bar. Sophie's standing there, her dress partially tattered, visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there? Yeah. Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality? Sure thing. The anarchist is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. Same thing happens to the second. The third, you hear the radios go off on the other soldier's shoulders. A panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The fourth head pops. The fifth. You finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting him as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? Sure. Not thinking twice, you stand up and grab the soldier's head in your hands. Before he can react, you twist. The sickening sound of breaking bone is followed by the crumpling of his limp body. You see Torque holding a combat knife in his hand, ready to throw it. He catches your eye. Beat me to it. Langley? Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meeting's still an item? Yes, I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming and she'll know what to do. Torque? Yeah, coming. Take the back door. Koda, come on. You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive and not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since. Fancy. You like it? It always felt too modern for my taste, but what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go. Need to take a quick drink? There we go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway. We'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin. You look at Sophie, excited. Finally, you will learn what it is that you've been working towards for more than a week. What it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What's that supposed to mean? Koda, the address that I procured from Kaiser, was the meeting spot for Panhard's and the Baron's regular sharing of blood and other bodily fluids, if the rumors are true. Wait, Kaiser knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the Prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Kaiser said something about having plans for me. They wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That is an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. A chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know, and all that. What was the address he gave you? They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour. Hot damn, I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why? So you can see the proof for yourself, so that I can make sure too, and so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present to her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably on her past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard. So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard and I even remove Callahan. Then what? Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow the ivory tower to challenge you. She or they have engineered the status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold on to power that much longer. And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of NYC in no time. If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, it's risk I am willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I am offering you a chance to square things with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre. How do I factor into this plan at all? Yes, we will be taking you with us to Ellis Island, both as another set of eyes to witness the Prince and Baron in the act, and as a bit of added security. I don't think Helen or Callahan would dare to lay a finger on me, but they will not find me unprepared. You know, after all those years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick-measuring contests, I should expect a ruse, some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get the show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier. Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning. The three of you leave the apartment and walk toward the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in NYC where the Prince and the Baron can meet, and it's Ellis Island, a landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Hofi on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of con. Finally, you see it. Light coming from a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is. Callahan, kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed, a small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching. "You fucker! You piece of shit!" "Stop!" The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest. He shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite him down. "Prince, call off your lapdog." "Langley, what is the meaning of this?" The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. "Kill the bitch, Helen, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna." A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to. What's this guy doing here? So entertaining. Truly, it feels almost a shame to break up this spectacle, but alas. Thomas? Who the fuck is this joker? Yes, I don't think we met, though. Though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. Still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows once again. Ahem. Helen, could you be so kind as to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much? Callahan, don't kill him. This time, Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles but can't quite break away. I will not be denied, Helen. Not this time. You will do as I command. And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy. What? Like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley? You and your clique figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own? But you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Koda? Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. What I'm talking about, you ask? You fledgling. You don't know, how could you? Only I knew, and your sire, of course. They're the one who agreed to embrace you after some negotiations. You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. It stays at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears in the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora. Another actor going off script at the very end, eh? No matter. Let him bring us some amusement, now that the production is almost wrapped up. He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this. Helen, even if we naively assume his nights aren't numbered, now that he's in the SI's sights, this show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks and speculation. Sophie looks at you. How could you, Koda? I saved you. Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face. Langley. What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you? Or maybe this oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy? Thomas, what? You thought that being an expert chess player would always be enough? You never realized that people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going? He motions to the remaining kindred. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew, Koda. Just another pawn placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece since you took them in, but who gave you that idea? You returned to the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard, the woman in red, Sophie, somebody speaking to her, a man in glasses, the man is standing before you now. This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only somebody would speak up for the poor child. It could be a useful tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps onto Sophie's face. Of course, those are not the words you heard, were they? No. You were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out, and you took it. Hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Koda as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes. What is it that you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy, the answer is so simple but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability. Cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo, gently, infallibly. A system full of distractingly moving parts which simulate conflict so convincingly that its users never feel a need to direct their energy towards upsetting the system, achieving the eternal through the disposable, building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that is something like an exhaust system for the spirit, something that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it in a single place. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues. With a theatrical snap of fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something's changed in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie. Goodbye, Sophie. A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. It's Adelaide Davis, holding garden shears in her hands. You take off and rush towards Sophie. You only take a few seconds before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Arturo. You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, Koda, your career is moving at a breakneck pace, moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. What do you want from me? What's the rush? I was about to get to that. Helen, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should. Shush. You're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. Sure thing, darling. Man, it's surprising seeing Adelaide, though. You were left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her. Lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Congratulations, you've won this little game. You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again. Life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him, Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance. You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My own life began right here, and it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation, but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship, the characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate, and only I saw its beauty. I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Give it my input wherever needed until it entrusted me to do more. Thomas stepped over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Fate let me look after the city with my architect's tools. I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rule books rulebook passages. The others plant city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. You know, I've grown fond of you. You did so well even when that idiot Callahan tipped the Inquisition off. You still got out. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. He uncovers his wrist. So take my blood. Just enough so we can start off on the right foot, as a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues, ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. What do you say, Koda? Doesn't even give me an option? So I'd assume, I guess we actually do that. Wow, I thought there was at least a couple hours here, but this is already the ending for that one. Interesting. Well, I guess my thoughts overall is it's an interesting story. I'll give it that for sure. But near the end, with the stuff regarding the Anarchs and meeting Callahan or Callahan's men, there was such a dissociation where I think they didn't expect you not to meet them. So when it said that we had previous meetings and we never did, like with one of Callahan's men, it threw me off and kind of took me out of the experience a bit with that, because that turns into, no, we didn't. Unless maybe we chose a different option, but we didn't, because due to our options, we never actually saw the guys. So those things kind of pulled me out a little bit, but overall, it's an interesting story. From a sudden embrace to becoming a vampire to eventually becoming a part of this plot, and then seeing this end. And that was my controller. But seeing that end is interesting, where I was hoping for some kind of like exact end, like we'd get a choice. But I guess that was the final dialogue, really. And I'm not sure how different it is for the stories of the other characters, though. Oh, is that all for the credits? I didn't mean to talk over all of them. Unless maybe there's some hidden thing at the end? Or are we just going right back to the main menu? Right back to the main menu. Oh, we can't even load. We have to do new game. Interesting. That's crazy. Yep, so that was the path up for the Bruja. Otherwise, there's the Ventru and the Toreador. Interesting. But yeah, I'd say this game overall was pretty neat. Since it came bundled with Vampire the Masquerade Swansong, it was worth going through at least once. I might go through on my own and try to go through the other stories at some point. Like, I don't want to anytime soon right now, but I might sometime down the line actually go through another story. Because I believe regardless, the main story stays intact. So we do meet Sophie, and we do have the 4 different companions. But obviously you can still make different choices as well. I don't know if you get the same choice options though, as well as if there's any power differences because of being of different clans, maybe. But it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, I'm surprised this ended so quick. I'll actually probably do another recording of something else after this, but I'm glad I actually got to see the ending of this, and I hope you guys enjoyed this story and the ending. The end was just such a twist, though, between the Anarchs and the Camarilla leaders, as well as Arturo being behind everything and shaping everything, using everything as literally a chess piece, just moving the pawns and pieces to where he wants them to be. It's crazy. But with that, hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough. And if you did, definitely check out Vampire The Masquerade Swansong, which kind of takes place with some of these rules, but different characters. And also still allows you to make choices, so you can still change the story based on your choices. But, this is interesting, especially for a graphic novel. But with that, hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.